So the pieces of chipboard or cereal box that's doubled that you're going to need, and the measurements are, you're going to need one piece that is 7 7/16 inches by 4 inches, and that's going to be your bottom. I hope you can see that okay. 7 7/16 by 4. That's the bottom of the tag box. Now the back piece that will go on the back here is 7 7/16 by 4 3/4 high, and that one is going to attach on the back there. Then there's a front piece that is again 7 7/16 wide by 2 13/16 high, and that is the front piece. So it'll go there. Now the center piece that you'll need to make it a 2 compartment is again 7 7/16 by 3 9/16, and that'll go somewhere around here. Or if you want to make one of these bigger, you'll have to go with whatever size you're going to need from the angled end pieces. Now those angled end pieces, you're going to need 2. And this one measures 4.5 by 4 1/4 by 2 7/8. So the back is 4.5 inches high, it's 4 1/4 inches wide, and the front is 2 7/8. So you'll measure however high you want your front and your back, and then you'll angle that off, and it'll go there. There's one on this end and one on the other end. That's why the center piece, I'm going to put mine about here. So I made mine 3 9/16, which is just about centered. Now I'm also doing mine with compartments inside the front compartment. I hope that makes sense. Well, if you see the picture at the beginning, you'll understand what I mean. So there's going to be one for tags, which will be about here, and then one for the note cards, and then I'm going to put one on the end over here for a pen to go in, for a pen holder. You can do without the pen holder and just make it for the 2, or you could just leave it with just the 2 compartments and have 2 different sized cards, or stationery and cards, or whatever you'd like to put in it. But I'm going to put 2, one the width just a little larger than the width of my tags, and then one a little larger than the width of my note cards that are going in there. Which I'm putting 6 note cards, 2 of 3 different sizes. And we will look at those in a little bit. Now that's the chipboard that you're going to need. And those measurements will be, for my design, these pieces, will be down in the bottom. Now to cover your chipboard, you're going to need pieces of a solid cardstock, unless you're using a different type of paper. What I'm using today is from Laser O Love, which we carry here at Lady April Designs. It's an import from Poland, and I'm going to be doing Winter Song, which I'll show you that in just a moment. But the color that I've chosen that goes with it is this beautiful chocolate brown. And this is what I will be covering my chipboard pieces with, which we'll get into that later. And you're going to need to make you some hinge pieces, which is the same color paper, but on one side you're going to put 2 strips. Mine are 1.5 inches wide. You're going to put 2 strips on there, and this is 3/4 inch wide double-sided tape. And I've only cut one piece so far, and I had some scraps left over from my tags and my cards and stuff, so I used those also. You're going to want to do some in one direction folded, and then some folded in the other direction, so that you'll have hinges for inside and out. Now that's the paper. Now let's look at this beautiful paper from Laser O Love. Laser O paper is very beautiful. It's a great quality paper. It's very thick, and it hasn't creased or cracked or anything. And this is what it looks like when it comes in the package. You'll get 3 strips with these beautiful little cut aparts on the back, or you can use them the other side for tags. on 2 of them, there is a back side. The other one is not. These are bonus pieces. But what I've done is I've cut them apart, and I've fussy cut around them, and I've edged them, and I've used some on my note cards, which we'll see later on in the video. They come with 3 strips of this, which, like I said, 2 of them you can use the back side or you can use the front. It's up to you. And these are double-sided papers. This is Winter Song. This is page 1. And then on the back side, it's got the sheet music, which I love. That's why I chose the browns, because it goes with the browns and the pine cones, and it goes with the browns in here. Oh, this is my favorite piece on here, with the poinsettia and the Christmas flowers, and it's just so pretty with the wood grain and the beautiful music notes. This is page 2 of Winter Song, and the back is a beautiful muddled green with darker around the edges. Page 3 is again that beautiful beige with the brown edges, and it's got the beautiful winter birds, which we do carry the birds in the chipboard pieces that go with this. And it's got this beautiful, let me raise that camera up just a hair. There we go. It's got the beautiful boughs up here, and the bird is on a bough. The other side is the polka dot. So if you wanted to do it very minimal, you could use the polka dot. You could cut these little pieces out and layer them on a card or whatever. It's completely up to you. And this is the cut apart sheet of Winter Song, page 4. They're so beautiful. And wait till you see what I've done with these. I have fussy cut every one of these. And I didn't use glossy accents on them, but they're going to be very shiny, and they're very sturdy now. And we'll get into that later on. That's the back of the cut apart. In case you didn't want to use the cut apart, that's a beautiful damask on there. Isn't that just gorgeous? It reminds me of Victorian wallpaper. I think it's just beautiful. And here is the holly berry and snow with the twigs. This is another reason I chose the brown, because the brown is not only with the green and the white one and the beige one, it's also in the blue background one. So it does have 3 colors of backgrounds that you can choose from. If you just choose to do cards with these, you could do that as well. This one has the blue polka dot on the background. And I don't know if it's catching it well, but if you look really closely, it looks like denim. The texture on the background looks like denim. And page 6 of Winter Song is the beautiful blue damask, like it's on the back of the cut apart. Only this one is in blue, and the back side has these beautiful birds on the snowy branches, and the snowflakes in the background, and the flurries and beautiful swirls. So that is the paper that we are going to be using. Again, I'll lay it out so you can see it a little bit better. And you can pick this up in the store at Lady April Designs, and the product number will be in the description below, or at the end of the video I will run a page that has with the product numbers of everything that I've used that is available at Lady April Designs. Okay, there you go. That's the paper. Now we'll get started with the actual tutorial. So for the cards and envelopes, I'm making a set of 6 cards with envelopes that are 5 by 7. And all I've done so far is I've distressed the edges of the envelopes. I even did the flap and on the inside to give it that beautiful vintagey, rusticy look. I think it goes very well with the paper. That's the envelope, and I've also gone ahead and done the card, because I like to, if I'm doing something where there is multiples of it, I will do like mass production. I'll do all the cards, all the envelopes, cut out all the paper ahead of time. So there's my card base. As you can see, it's blank on the inside, which you can put sentiments on the inside if you'd like, but these, I'm going to be giving this as a gift, so I'm just going to leave it blank so that they can send their own note to people. Now, on the front cover, I have the plain brown cardstock, which this one I have cut to where it's a 1/4 inch difference widthwise and height-wise. So that way there's an 1/8 of an inch all the way around the card. And I'm going to use my art glitter glue, because we all know I love art glitter glue. And we do sell art glitter glue in Lady April Designs, but if you are already in the areas where the temperature is below 40, you will not be able to get it sent to you unless you pay for overnight shipping. And I can put hand warmers in it to keep it warm for you. That's the only way I can ship it if your temperature is below 40 degrees. So I'm running it running it around the edge. Remember, it doesn't take very much of the art glitter glue. You can use your own glue, whatever you have, or you can use double-sided tape. Living in Florida, double-sided tape just does not work very well here. It works good, but with the heat and the humidity all year round, we had our fall the other day, and it was only one day, and it got all the way down to 80 degrees. Yeah, 80 degrees is fall here. So with that one on there, and I've gone ahead and I've punched the corners out on here, and I've distressed the edges of this also. And what I'm using is the Distress Ink Vintage Photo. We do have the archival kit of Distress Inks in the shop. You can get the 4 of the 10 volts archival Distress Ink, which I believe it comes in the Ground Espresso, Hickory Smoke, Black Soot, and Vintage Photo. And it is the small pans, but you can get reinkers. So if you don't have a whole lot of room, that's actually perfect. And they work like Distress Inks, but they're waterproof like archival. So this one also has a small edge to it on the sides, but I did leave it a little more room on the top and bottom because I wanted to put some beautiful little stickers on here, but you can get stickers pretty much anywhere anymore. These I happen to get from Hobby Lobby because they're the beautiful Christmas ones that they have out right now. And let's put a poinsettia on there too. Poinsettia, 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 however you would like to say it. Let's put one of these over here in the corner, because I think it kind of matches and it gives it just a little bit of sparkle. Now another thing that I've done is, instead of stamping, which I have the 10 volt stamping platform, what I've done is I printed out on my computer, which I can change the font, I can change the style or size, and then I can punch it out with my punches. I've printed out sheets of sentiments for the holidays. I have a stack of one for every holiday now. And I kept them on my computer so I can print them out as I need them in a whole sheet. And then what I did after that was I took them and I edged around them. And then if I didn't have a punch that was bigger than the actual sentiment, what you can do, like this one, is you can punch out 2 of the background color and stagger them. I don't know if you can see the line, but they're staggered. So there's some on the top and some on the bottom. And then I'll put these in here also. These will go in there with them so they can put what they'd like to put on there. I think I made 8 of these and 6 cards. So let's look at the cards that I have made. This is the one that I just put together here. And this is all with the Laser-O paper. There's that one. And they're all blank on the inside. These little birds are so adorable. And don't throw away the pieces of paper that you have extra if you make the cards out of the same paper, because you can always use that paper for tags or for embellishments or anything like that. Oh, here's the pretty blue ones too, with the beautiful blue background and the birds. That's why I made the different sentiments to go with it. There's Holly Jolly, Merry Christmas, Season's Greetings, Happy Holidays, and there. So I put the sticker on stickers, at least one sticker on each one of them so that they'll all go together. And then there's the envelopes to go with them. And that's the cards and envelopes. So here are the little note cards that I made, and these will go in there probably in a separate little envelope. Those are the sentiments that I made, the Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, Season's Greetings. So each one, there's 2 of each size, and they're blank on the inside, and I use those cute little strip cut aparts, and I cut them all apart, and I distress the edges, and I use some of the scrap paper to put on the cards, and they're all blank inside. But the envelopes, I put to and from on each of the envelopes. Here's the next size. So there's 3 different sizes here, which you don't have to do. You don't even have to do the note cards if you don't want to. This is something that I chose to do. So these are really, really cute. Now, let's get into the tags. I made 9 gift tags. I mean, I figured, you know, multiples of 3. So I made 9 gift tags. What I did is I used nesting dies, and I cut out my background paper. And then I used the next size down nesting paper, or nesting die, excuse me, to cut out my background pieces. And then I used the same size for those as I did for the other side that you write on or you journal on, if you want to put these in a journal, for the back side. So this is going to be 3 layers. Now, let's distress the edges. Everyone knows how to distress an edge. This is the way I do it. I will have my distress ink sitting on my desk. And when I'm not using it at the moment, I will leave my pad, my dauber on there, so it's soaking up for me, so I don't have to keep pounding. And then I just go around the edges. And I found with these rectangular ones, you can cover more surface if you go with it long ways versus this way. If you don't have the rectangular ones, I suggest maybe trying some, or use the round ones. The round ones are perfectly good. And we're going to do that with that one. See, this gets annoying sometimes. So, and I know there's some people that can't stand the sound of anything being distressed, and I apologize ahead of time, but this is a must for this look. I don't think it's more of a vintagey look. I think it's more of a rustic look to me. And we're going to do the other pieces that go on the opposite side as well. Now my nesting dies did have a hole in them, all of them, and it was so tiny and it was not in a good place. So I left the small one on the big one, the hole on the big one, and I just used my crocodile, and I make the hole larger after everything is put together. I have such a heavy hand that I will bend the paper. Does anybody else have that problem? I know I do. We're just going to go around this edge. Everybody knows how to distress, but just in case, you just take your distress sponge, you dab it, make sure it's got plenty of ink on it. Now you can either dab it off, which I have seen a lot of people do, but I like the difference in the colors, the hue saturation. Ooh, big words, right? That it gives some spots are darker, some spots are lighter, and it just makes it look so much better. Now I'm going to push that up there out of the way, and we're going to get the glue out. And It really doesn't matter which is which because we are going to put some ribbons on these, or I'm going to put ribbon on them. You don't have to. I went and bought a beautiful chocolate ribbon. That I think will go beautifully with this. Beautiful and beautifully. Yay! So you want to line it up where it's about even. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfectly even because remember, these are a handmade gift or project. These are not something that you could go buy in the store. And probably, yes, they do have they have cards that are kind of cheap at the store, $1 a piece or whatever, but nothing will beat a handmade gift. It shows that you put a lot of thought and effort into it. And you could do like I did over time. Sit in front of the TV, do your fussy cutting. Take, if your craft room is in your house and you're watching TV, use all your dies and cut out all your dies. For your tags, cut all your paper at one time if you're going to be doing, multiple things. That way, when you get ready to do your project, you don't have to worry about, oh, I got to stop and do this and this and this. You already have it ready. Says the queen of procrastination and never anything ready when I need it. Yes, I'm talking about myself. So these tags are almost done, these two, which these will be 8 and 9 out of the set, which I've done all the rest of them already, which they're the exact same. I used the same paper to make the tags. And if one is not exactly perfect like the rest of them, it's not that big a deal. Again, it's a handmade item. So here are the rest of my tags. See, these are, I love it. The crocodile, will just put that little grommet on the back there, or I don't know what everybody calls them. I call them grommets. Eyelets, maybe. And my crocodile is right here. So what I do, because these crocodiles, I have the big bite crocodile too. I call it a big bite because it, can take a big bite. So what I do is I'm using the 3/8 size, and I will put them both in at the same time and make my hole. And it does 2 at a time, no problem. I mean, you can use this thing on leather. And then you make sure that you're using the front side. And if you don't know how to do these, and you, like me, you just willy-nillied it, there is a mark on your crocodile, the handheld or the big bite one here, that has the grommet on it, or eyelet, and it's saying, ring on top and the teeth go down. I didn't notice that before. And if you are new to these, they are color coordinated. The top part is silver and the bottom part is silver. That's for the 3/8 inch. And they do pull out and turn, and that's the smaller one, and it goes with the 1/8 inch one there. So put it back where I had it so I can do the right one. These things are awesome. So you want to make sure that you have your ring, your solid part on the top, and then your pointy part, so to speak, that's going to curl underneath. And then you lay it in there, you line it up, and you press. And then it turns out like that. Yay! Again, you line it up, you lay it in there correctly. That way they're all facing the same way. You line it up and you press down. Which I got my big bite because I kind of had to. I had the smaller one that my sister-in-law gave me, the regular crocodile, but something happened and the little peg popped and I needed one really bad, and I used my 40% off coupon at Hobby Lobby and I got me a new one. So there's 4 of those and 5 of the green. I don't know why it turned out that way. It just did. Well, because it's an odd number. So there's my tags, and I'll go ahead and go through putting ribbon on one, and then we'll call the tag section done. So you want to cut. It depends. The length is not that big a deal because everybody is going to be different with how long they want theirs to be and how much, if they want it to be tied in a knot, in a circle or loop rather, or what. But if you're using ribbon that is a frayable ribbon, you definitely, I love a barbecue lighter or candle lighter for this. You just barely catch the end of it. You don't want it to melt up, and that will keep it from fraying. So what I do is I make it even, make sure that it's not folded or twisted either like it is. There we go. Make it even or even-ish. And I put it through from the back forward. Now you could also put hole protectors on these too. Create your own, or you can just buy the ones that are pre-made. And there's your tag. Now a lot of people will just put it through one direction and then tie it. See, I did make that a little too long, but that's okay because you never know. People might need to tie a tag on something really, really big. Like a bicycle for Christmas. That would be great. Or, you know, a brand new printer, or I don't know, something really cool. A new chair. Because everybody needs a comfy computer chair when they're working at their craft desk. Otherwise your back could hurt. Well, that is how I did the tags. Now onto the cut apart sheet. I did cut all of those pieces out. And let's see, here they are right here. And this is what they look like after they're done. Oops, I dropped one, excuse me. I don't know if the camera, yeah, it's picking it up. Sorry for the reach. There's so many of them on that sheet though, that as you can see the beautiful damask on the back. But I cut them all apart because I'm going to be putting them on the box itself. Can you see the shine on there? That is not glossy accents. What that is clear embossing powder. And I'm going to show you how I do that. I'm sure everyone knows how to emboss, but I figured, hey, when in Rome, figured I should go ahead and show you how I do mine to make them appear like they have glossy accents on them. Which I have glossy accents, but since moving, I have not been able to locate it. It's probably in one of the boxes that I have not unpacked yet. So what I do is I have my Versamark, which I have this, I've had this one for a while and I just keep refilling it, but we do carry the Embossing Daubers, and we have the ink reinker and the plain pads that you can create your own. So what I do is I take one of these. If I had the dauber, I would just daub it, but since I don't, I just take it and put it on the pad. And make sure that your embossing, your clear embossing pad is good and moist, and it's kind of got a little sticky to it, because that makes it perfect. So I just rub it around on there. Then I take my heating gun and my pokey tool, one of my pokey tools. That way it doesn't fly away. I preheat my gun a little bit, and then I'll shake the powder on it. That way you don't have to sit and wait forever for your heat gun to heat up. Mine's a little old, so yeah, I have to do that. I have a new one, I just haven't taken it out yet. And I just sprinkle a little on there, and then I take some tweezers, especially for these little bitty pieces, and I will take it out. of the powder, lay it down, and the little funnels that you can find are like if you have kids or grandkids, they have the Easy Bake or the little science kits. Those little funnels, when they're done with them, are great for putting your embossing powders back in. I have one that came with a resin kit. So now what I do is I will hold it, not down, I don't hold it down with the pointy end. Here, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit so we can see a little bit better. Let's see, let's move that bar by hand. There we go. Alright, so what it is I hold my embossing, my pokey tool, or whatever you'd like to call yours. Keep the gun up a little bit more again. And then I don't put it down on there. I just hold up against it from the direction of the opposite direction I'm using my heat gun. Just to hold it in place. It's not on it, because otherwise it'll fly away. And then I let that one, see how it's covered and brought out the shine again. There's that one. You're going to want to let these cool off in between. Ow. And if you get this little rain looking texture, it's okay. It looks kind of like a skin texture. It's okay. Just don't worry about that, because you're going to do a second coat. Now these are 2 coats on here, and they are really, really sturdy now. And they're so shiny. Look at that. And that's no glossy accents. It's just the clear embossing powder. Even the bird. Oh, that bird is so pretty. Feels like it's gonna fly right up into the camera. All right, now that it's cooled down, you're gonna do it again. Same thing. It doesn't take long to cool it down if you're in an air-conditioned area. Because if you touch it when it's still warm, it's just going to get everywhere. It's going to get on your hand. It's going to burn. It's going to be hard to get off. And you don't want that. So now that I have... Oh, maybe I didn't get it off. Yeah, we got it off. Successfully done that. And we're going to... Well, how about if I get in frame? We're going to sprinkle the embossing powder on there again. And I like to let it sit for just maybe 10 seconds or so while it's adhering, so to speak. Well, it is kind of adhering because it is like a glue. And then don't touch it with your fingers, because then you're going to smear everything off of it. That's why I love these little tweezers. It doesn't really interfere with the embossing powder that's on there. All right, I'm going to sit this off to the side here so I can clean that up in a minute or two. When we're done embossing these, I'll clean that up and be right back. So we're going to pull this over into the center, heat it up a little because it's already still quite warm. When I did all of the other ones, I did them all at one time, so it stayed warm. And then when you do the second coat, the skin-like texture goes away. And if you overheat it a little, it's not that big a deal, because yes, it'll bubble up, but it's going to come back and it's going to be clear. I love clear embossing. I do most of my ephemera with this instead of glossy accents. Which there's nothing wrong with glossy accents, but when you're doing a lot like this, glossy accents can get very expensive. And the clear embossing powder is not that expensive. I've used this same package here, or the same container of Hampton Art for 2 years, I think. Yeah. So that's how I did all of this beautiful ephemera and gave it some sturdiness. So when it's put on there, can you hear that? Yeah, it's pretty sturdy. All right, so that's the ephemera. So I will be right back. Let me clean that mess up and I'll be right back with you. Now that you have all of your pieces cut out, it's time to wrap them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap mine with my solid cardstock, and I'm only going to wrap completely the bottom and the center pieces along with my divider pieces, and if I decide to put a pen or pencil holder, that will also get wrapped completely because those are going to be on the inside and the bottom. It's going to be hard to wrap on the inside. The rest of them you're going to wrap just the part that's going on the inside of your box. This is your outside, just this part, because this side is going to get designer series paper, which I'm using the Winter Song by Lazaro. If you want to wrap the whole thing, you can, but it's going to get a little on the bulky side and it would waste a lot of paper because you are going to use your hinges or your flanges, whatever you'd like to call them, to attach on the inside and the outside for stability. So these get wrapped completely, and your other pieces just get wrapped on one side if you want to do the save paper save. Now just remember, when you're doing your edge pieces, that the taller, or excuse me, the end pieces, that the taller point is going to be the back. So you want to make sure you're not wrapping the same side on both. So what I would do is I would put an X on them, or I for inside, and just wrap that, just cover that side. You can wrap the whole thing if you'd like I said, and then you wouldn't have to do anything to the top of these here. I'm going to be using some really pretty washi tape from Tim Holtz Ideology. It's got all kinds of stuff on it. It's got music notes. It's in a pack of 8 rolls that I have here in the store, which again, that will all these product numbers will be at the end of the video. So I'm going to go ahead and get these wrapped, and I'll see you back in a minute. Just for those of you who don't know what I mean by wrap completely, figured I'd go ahead and do this. You want to get your 8.5 by 11 piece, or a piece that's big enough that gives you enough that you can fold over, and you want to measure it out. Make sure that it's big enough, because see, that's going to be plenty big enough because I'll have a little extra there, because you're going to fold it and then just wrap it all the way around. So let me get this one taped down. I'm just going to put the tape on here instead of the paper. And it doesn't have to be, oh, sorry, I'm off camera. It doesn't have to be taped all the way down around completely, just the ends and the edges. If you want to, you can, and maybe one right down the center. There you go. And then you do that on both sides. Don't forget to burnish it down once you get your double-sided tape on there, because that will help it stick a lot better. And don't forget that if you're using double-sided tape, that you want to make sure that your hands are oil-free, especially if you're going to be touching the back side of your tape. Okay, now with that done, you peel off the back sides. I'm sure everyone knows how to take the tape off the back. Oop, seem to have folded it over a little bit. There we go. I guess maybe I should have used my pokey tool. And if you have, like I just did, a piece that overlaps, you should always take the bottom piece first, and then you can press down that overlaps onto it. So now you want to take it and you want to kind of center it in there. so that it gives you a nice area on all the sides. So you definitely want to pre-crease on your ends and your sides and miter, and then continue to wrap it. Now on the other pieces, like I said, you just want to wrap the inside pieces. So what I did is I just laid them down, and I had just barely enough to where it would fold over on all the sides, like so. Maybe a little more if you want to, or you can completely wrap those. And then once you get those done, it's time for assembly. And here we go. The box is put together, and I did have to trim it off a little bit. You can see where I maybe cut into it a little too far right there, but I did cut it off a little because the measurements were a little off, which I will fix the measurements in the description at the end of the video, or down below the video, in the not PDF but in the instruction sheet, so to speak. If you would rather have that, just let me know and I will send you one. So we have my center piece, my back piece, my front piece, the bottom, and those are all, this one is wrapped completely, the bottom is wrapped completely. These I did not wrap completely because they were, but then I had to trim it off because they were too tall. I forgot to angle it and it was straight across, so I had to cut it off. And I did have some extra little pieces, so I made a little pin holder. Now that that is put together, we can go ahead and start putting the decorative paper on. This is what I was talking about the buildup. See, you have these hinge pieces all the way around it, and that does make a difference in your thickness. Oh, I see a little spot right there that needed to be cut off of paper from the hinge. There we go. And what I've done here is I have put some of the washi tape across there because it has music notes and words and script on it. And the music notes go really good with the paper, and the color goes really good with the paper. So I just put it across the top of that because I had to trim it as well. But I can do the rest of that right now as soon as I can find my washi tape. There it is. We'll go ahead and trim that part out with the washi tape. You just want to make sure that you have it just so. And now if you don't trust washi tape, which I'm just now learning to, because I had some bad ones, some bad spools of washi tape, and it just did not stick for anything, and I had to glue it anyhow. So, and there we have, that is trimmed out. You can go ahead and trim the sides and the front if you'd like. I'll go ahead and do that now, and I will meet you right back here. Since there are some little cutouts that you need to do, I figured I'd do this last piece with you guys. Now, if you don't want to use washi tape, if you're unsure of it, you can always put some glue underneath it or some double-sided tape or whatever you prefer. Or you can just ink it up, which I already inked this up, as you can see. And I'm going to trim this end off because it got a little raggedy. Make sure your tape is going the right direction if it is a directional tape, which this has music notes and words on it, so I kind of want my words to be the right way. Now you want to make sure, that you start at the end, unless you're going to put some decorative doohickey on there. Yes, I said doohickey, because I'm not sure what would go on there. And then go all the way to the other edge. Now this is going to be get covered up on the outside with my designer series paper, which is Winter Song, which I will show you at the end of the video a couple of other choices that we have for winter or Christmas paper. Now what I do is I go ahead and I burnish the part that's already on the box on the outside, which it's going to get covered. Oh, I also put some little wooden balls on here for feet. and it looks great. And I'll go ahead and at the end I'll probably paint those gold. Now where you have your dividers, you want to take some Teflon scissors and you want to go alongside where your divider is and snip up on both sides, and then snip across so you cut that little bitty piece of tape out, and then you're going to fold it over and push it down. Now I have the same thing here where it's my pencil holder or pen holder, so I'm going to snip across, and cut that out. And there you have it. Lay it down on its side like so, which it's hard for you to see, I'm sure, and burnish it. And there you have it. It's all trimmed out. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to figure out what paper we want where. So I have selected these two that go with my tags, and I'm not sure if I want to put the beautiful Christmassy side out, or like this one has music sheets on it, or music notes on it. This one has blue polka dots on it. So what I'm going to do is, because this is a Christmas tag, but it could be used, Christmas card and tag box, but it could be used all year long, I think I'm going to go ahead and use the music sheet. Now you don't have to do it this way. You can put whatever you'd like on it, but you want to make sure that everything meets up. And because you have your brown on there already, you could offset it a little and distress the edges, which is what I think I'm going to do. So let me go ahead and get this marked and cut out and distressed, and then we'll put it together. So now that we have all of the decorative paper cut out and distressed and attached, what I do is I will lay out my ephemera how I want it done, and then I will take my camera on my phone and I will take a picture of it, because nothing is ever going to be the same twice. And then let's show you what it looks like. I use the back side of the pine cone paper for the front and the back, and this is what was left over from one of the other sheets that was the one with the birds and the bows, the brown birds and the bows. So that's what the sides are, and that they're not both identical, which is fine because it doesn't have to be. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take some foam tape, and I'm going to cut a couple of little strips here, because we're going to pop some of it up and some of it is not going to be popped up. Like these pieces here, they're just going to be glued down. It doesn't take too awfully much glue to glue it down. There we go. Now this piece, I'm going to put a piece of foam tape on. It's just a small little piece of foam tape. You could always add a little bit of glue to it also, just to make sure, doubly sure, that it is attached. And this one is going to go in the center. Just gives it just a little bit of dimension, not a whole lot. And we're going to do the same thing with which we do carry foam tape in the store. I'll have that number for you also at the end of the video. Now the only one that I'm going to foam tape is the one that's going to be on top. So these other ones, I'm just going to add a little bit of glue, make sure that it's the right direction, put it just barely up underneath there like that, make it look a little more natural. And I apparently wiped all the glue off. It's okay. And a little bit on here. that one up just a hair. And this one has the foam tape on it. And that one is raised up just a hair. And it gives it such lovely dimension too. As you can see, it does raise it up, but not enough to where it's going to hinder anything. Now the bird, I am going to add some foam tape to it because I think the bird should be popped up a little, and I'm going to place it to where it looks like it's actually nesting on the tree bough. Let's see, here we go. Peel the back off. Just a smidgy bit of glue, just for double security, and then attach it to where it looks like it is resting on the bough. Now you can do your layout however you'd like, with whatever you'd like, but this is how I'm going to do mine. And I'll probably go ahead and use some gold paint and do the edges and trims and all. But once you have it done, you can put your note cards on this side. And these are the sentiments that I made ahead of time. Here's all my tags. They'll go here. The sentiments will go in there. And all of the greeting cards, the Christmas cards that you can put your own sentiments onto, will go in the back. And the best part is you can put an ink pen, maybe not this one, but in your little holder, and voila, you have a beautiful little desk caddy for cards and things. Well, there you go. I hope you enjoyed this, and we're gonna cut now, and this will be the end of this video, and I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you, and you guys have a wonderful day. As promised, here's the other two Christmas collections that we have. These two are from AB Studio. This one is Secret Wood, and then there's Breeze of the Forest. They're both not just Christmas, but they're winter effect, and they don't say Christmas on them, but they're very, very beautiful. And just go check them out in Lady April Designs, and we will have the product numbers at the end of the video and down below in the description. Thank you for sharing your afternoon with me, and I hope to see you again very, very soon. Thank you guys, and don't forget LadyAprilDesigns.com.